The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it's Friday. TGIF. And what do we start with already?
Well, before we get on to the news.
Public service here.
Yeah, we had asked for Mayor Jaisal Correa to be on today's show. He never responded. So that's two candidates in a row. But, Paul Coogan will be on Monday. Kyle Riley will be on next Friday. And Erica Scott-Pacheco will be on the following Monday. So, and they're all confirmed. So they will be here.
So we have 3 out of the 5.
3 out of the 5.
We'll see what happens. But
and
hey,
if we have time, we'll do a second round.
That's right. We will do a second round, and with follow-up questions, because you'll get to hear them have ample time to expand on what their vision is for Fall River. We will ask a few questions. If we get some questions, we'll try to incorporate them. But after you get a feel for the candidates on that show, because they will not be restricted by 1-minute response times or 30-second rebuttal times, trying to give you the best look at these candidates we can. We will have them on again, and we can dig a little deeper to other specifics that come up, or expand even more on what they've said. So tune in. We've got a pretty good we've got a lineup of candidates that chose to show up. And remember, the same format was going to be for all candidates. So if they feel that they would be in a hostile environment, they're wrong. We can, we will give them the, we will do exactly the same to all candidates. We are not going to give them less time or try to not allow them to introduce themselves.
You're not going to be like a certain radio host?
Yeah, like a certain radio host did. And of course, that was like a 5 or 6 minute window, too. They're going to get 20 to 25 minutes. So that's, we are going to, basically, if there's anything important, we're going to hit it. We're going to open up a little bit with maybe some intro, and then we're going to get to them as soon as we can and give them all the time we can to tell you, the voter, why they should be the mayor.
I agree, and I think it's important that each of these candidates show up and state their position on a lot of things, because there's so many rumors going around right now. We can't keep up with them. Like the most recent rumor, which wasn't a rumor, but we have an explanation. They're saying Kyle Riley isn't running for office anymore because his campaign finance account closed. That was closed in error by Office of Campaign and Political Finance. They're correcting that error today. Kyle Riley still is a candidate for mayor in this race. So we've already distinguished, that all of these rumors are just rumors. So
and as you said, CJ, the thing is that there are a lot of rumors, and when they're here, we'll ask them, is there anything you want to address? We are going to ask them some questions, and we are going to get follow-up questions, because one of the problems we always have is we end up with soundbite candidates. You watch a debate, they get a minute, they can't expand. You get 30 seconds for rebuttal. Then they have their openings and closings, which are pre-written and canned most of the time.
And most of the time, the opening and the closing are the exact same statement. So
exactly. But, the key is that this is the problem. We get a soundbite candidate, and you can't expand. And I'm sure if we had Sam Sutter as a candidate in this election, he would be bemoaning the debate when he wanted to really dig in deep about what his impression of Jaisal was, and he couldn't do it because of the format. So this is one of the reasons I think this is a good thing. And also, I feel it's critically important in this election. You don't have two shots at getting it right. You don't have a primary, and then you get a shot at really investigating before we get to the final election. This is a one-shot deal, you know, and it's very, very important. So please, don't miss us on next week and Monday of the following week, and as always, we will keep you. But again, the not okay corral strikes again.
Hey, this is next to my house.
Right, I was just going to say that. It's right near your house. That's right. The not okay corral again. They found several shell casings. They're investigating shots fired around 11:30 p.m. by two men dressed in black, two males dressed in black. It said sunning south. I think it was running. Whoever reviews the you know, these articles before they're printed must have missed that one.
Hey, I make
Unless
mistakes
they
too.
were, they might have been sunbathing. I don't know. Who knows? In a black outfit.
I make mistakes too. I make mistakes too.
So do I. Yeah. But I mean, this is in print, so you know.
Hey, I'm in print too, and I make mistakes.
Yeah, it doesn't. And so we all. But I mean, this, you know, the newspaper, they normally have people that are commissioned to look these things over, and that thing like a total misspelling. But you did spell sunning right, but I'm sure they meant running. But again, didn't we just see our fearless leader standing in front of a podium when somebody was running down South Main Street?
Yes, we did.
You know, firing like the Wild West. It was like he was a posse chasing the bad guy, and in this case, it was a bad guy chasing another bad guy, and firing indiscriminate shots on Main Street in this city, which is the most dangerous city in the state of Massachusetts and the second most dangerous in New England. And our mayor says this city is safe.
For who? The hoodlums?
Yeah, you know, I mean, look, you know, as he said about the purple bags and getting rid of them, everything is politics, and that was politics. Trying to, you know, and I mean, but that's not even ridiculous. It's not even sublime. It may even be ridiculous, because we're going to make a ridiculous word for what it is. Because when you make statements like that, it's like, what, you know, who in this city that actually doesn't spend all their time in Providence or some other community doesn't know this city is a war zone now? People are afraid to go out at night. There are bullets flying, stabbings, muggings, you name it. And, you know, when you have a problem, be it a dependency on something, the first step to curing that is to recognize the fact that you do have a problem. And for our mayor to stand in front of City Hall when somebody was running down South Main Street in broad daylight.
It was actually the courthouse.
Right? Well, of course. I mean, then again, we get to who would build a courthouse on Main Street except, you know, but in the middle of the central business district, which is no longer a business district because they do no business. But to get up there and have the unmitigated political gall to try to stack that BS out for the cameras, it just goes to show his politicalness knows no bounds. And now, what do we shift to?
Pay as you throw again.
Pay as you throw, purple bags. Well, how about the businesses left holding the bag? And it's not only businesses, it's people.
Well, the mayor did say, if you look in the questions that remain, some questions remain. Unfortunately, the mayor has had no conversations except this press conference, according to the city council. But according to the mayor, the Pay program officially ended on January 29th, which we know, and will no longer be enforced by the city. The memo also said the city will not be reimbursing anyone for leftover bags they may have purchased for the program. So if you went out on January 28th and bought a couple of rolls of bags, you're out of luck.
Well, I guess that kind of statement, which is a quote, by the way, that you just read.
Right.
Right? It's a quote from the mayor. it says, the memo, it's not even a quote, it's actually written. It's a memo.
Right.
So, so much for a statement that yes, everything is politics, but this will do a lot of good. So businesses are stuck with hundreds of bags. People are stuck with bags. And we don't even know what's going on because now we have counselors basically saying that, they don't care. They're going to look for enforcement. And so this ought to be, the fourth ring in the three-ring circus will be, again, purple bags. And then you listen to people saying, oh, well, good, now, I'm going to vote for them now, you got rid of the bags. How people can relegate an election to something so really inane in the scheme of things. They're living in a city where bullets are flying over their head. They don't have two nickels to rub together. And because somebody admittedly saying, I'm just doing this to get elected, and they vote for him. How ridiculously naive and pathetic is that rationale? I mean, that just makes no sense. And we wonder why we have the old adage, you get the government you deserve. So don't complain about Fall River if you're one of the people that are going to vote for the mayor because he got rid of the purple bags.
And we're not saying don't vote for the mayor. If you
No,
want to vote
look,
for him,
if you're going to vote for the mayor, vote for him
Yeah.
because you say because of the way he's running the city. And if you think that giving all your friends giant pay raises while you can't get a pay raise.
and stipends.
And stipends. And if you think that raising the tax rates and fees every year and never having any consideration that we're the poorest community in the state is a good thing, by all means, vote for him. If you think that going off to Paris and saying that, oh, I can communicate on my phone like Jorge Alorza, well, by all means, vote for him. But please, get your head out of your derriere. Getting rid of a $2 bag is not a reason. It's like electing a president because they like his new haircut. I mean, it's absurd. I mean, it just really, really, this is one of the problems. Nobody can see the forest for the trees. We're living in a city that's dying. It's probably dead. We're just basically on life support. I think we're brain dead. Because just let's look at this. All we hear is about tourism and economic development. There's no economic development possible in this city because small business in communities like this are the backbone of the economy. We can't support small business because we have no people with money to purchase and support small business. And I will give you an example that I gave a politician in a conversation a few weeks ago. To me, this is a classic example to show why Fall River, because we were talking about economic development, and they're talking about Amazon, which we got about 26 people working in. And I said, no, you have to develop your workforce. We have to have apprenticeship programs and give people skills to have employable people because most of our workforce right now is unemployable, and I believe Kathy Ann Viveris even said that before the council meeting. So how do you expect a city and its economy to thrive when people don't have any money? And when they do have money, the only thing they spend it on is pot because there's endless lines at the pot stores. Or cigarettes. And that's it.
Or lottery tickets.
Their income and their income is then exhausted. But here's the example. Now think about this. Blount Seafoods. Didn't we give them a TIF?
Yes, we did.
We gave Blount Seafood a TIF because, again, their theory is, they're in the city of Fall River. They will provide jobs. They don't employ that. They don't employ that many people. But they want to keep them in the city, even though they don't affect the economy by really giving people money to spend. Blount Seafood, a fairly successful company. They have a store in Warren or Bristol, I believe.
Yes.
They have a few stores.
And they moved their Fall River store up to the airport, up to their plant location.
Yeah, but they no longer have a restaurant.
Right. Not
And the
in Fall
only
River.
time you see anything on Bedford Street is when they're giving out soup.
Yeah, but now there's nothing on Bedford Street.
There's nothing on Bedford at all now.
They left.
But they were giving out soup, I think, 1 or 2 days a week, and then you had a line. So the only thing you can afford is soup. Now, here's a company that got a TIF in Fall River, and is a fairly successful company. And what did they do? Even they understood, after getting a freebie, a TIF, you can't do business in Fall River. They closed their restaurant. They can't even sell clam cakes in Fall River and make a living. So they close a store in the community that they're in. In the community that they're in. That doesn't tell you something about what stimulates an economy. It's about people with paychecks, people with money in their wallets. And this city and their BS politicians that keep trying to convince you that if we bring in these big companies, which employ very few of our unemployable, none to be exact, that's going to help our economy. It only helps them with campaign contributions. So get your head out of your derriere, because you're not thinking. Why does Blount... That should have been the last store they closed, not the first store they closed.
Well, interestingly enough, one of our viewers just said they moved from Bedford Street after the armed robbery there.
I'm sorry, I didn't even know that. There's so many armed robberies you can't keep track of. Thank you, viewer. I didn't realize they had an armed robbery there.
Yes,
but
they did.
But believe me, they're not even safe at the airport either, because I'll tell you what, the industrial park, because they'll find them eventually. But no, but this is a classic example of the naivete and also the duplicitousness of the politicians, because they continue to convince the public that it's all about big businesses and bringing these people in, and that's going to stimulate the economy. Horse manure. Horse manure. The big businesses, they move away when they can. If they don't make their bottom line, they're out of here. It's about people working. There are economists that said, you know, the reason for the Great Depression continued so long was people were not employed. As a matter of fact, along that train of thought, I attended a seminar at a National Retirement Board convention one time where a man brought up a very good point for all those people who want to gut the system. They said, during economic downturn times, one of the most important economic segments of the population are retirees. You know why? They don't get laid off. They still get their check. And as long as they get their check, they've got to spend some money. Unlike somebody who loses their job in their 30s or 40s and now is out on the street and they've got a $2,000 mortgage and a lifestyle predicated on high earning, now they're strapped and they can't do anything. And it's a very good point. But the moral to that story is it's about people with money, even not a lot of money. And Fall River is a classic example of that. At one point in time, Fall River didn't have one store empty on Pleasant Street, one store empty on South Main Street. The place was bustling. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There were people walking up and down Pleasant Street, South Main Street. Why? Everybody had a job. We had mills. We had other employment. But everybody had a paycheck. Not the greatest paycheck in the world. Some of those people were not making mega money, but they still went out to eat on Fridays. They still went out for breakfast before or after church on Sunday. They still shopped in the clothing stores. And we had a decent economy in Fall River. We weren't the richest community in the state, but we weren't the poorest. And we had a decent economy, and small business was thriving. Why? People had money. And these clown faces that we elect, well, not me because I don't vote for them, but the reality is these idiots that you don't throw out every year, every election or two, they're going to keep telling you, selling you that bill of goods that we got to keep working to bring Amazon. Look how much Amazon's done for the city. Basically zero. Big corporations about bottom lines, and Amazon, like every major corporation, will be out of here like they got rockets attached to their butts as soon as they're not going to make money at this site, just like all the companies are. Look at the auto industry. They got bailed out by the taxpayers of this country. They got all kinds of tax breaks, and look what just happened. They moved their plants to Mexico. They closed down, put up auto workers that have been working for 25, 30 years out of work. Why? Because they don't give a damn about the working man. Why have businesses continued to increase their profits while we have virtually no middle class? Because they're allowed to globalize. They can go anywhere in the world to get you replaced by a chimp if they can, or a robot. And they're making tons of money, and the politicians will say our economy's doing great. No, our big businesses are doing great. Next time you get online, check how much corporations' income, percentage-wise, has increased over the past 15 years, and check how much the average middle class income has gone up, and the size of the middle class. It's virtually non-existent. So there's your economics lesson for today, but it seems like nobody pays attention.
No, but nobody does pay attention. But, you know, let's get back to some of this pay-as-you-throw stuff.
Oh, well, that's part of the economy,
exactly.
Too.
Well, you know, Waste Zero, who had the contract to make the bags, and they were in charge of the recycling program, says the pay-as-you-throw program has reduced trash by over 50,000 tons, saving Fall River $1 million a year and generating an additional $2 million for the city annually. $2 million with the bags. Said Waste Zero Marketing Vice President Alice Kohler. Fall River is now one of the most efficient cities in New England in terms of solid waste. I'm kind of a little skeptical about that last part, but okay, most efficient at anything. And you know, you're talking about small business. Well, here in Fall River, small business was selling these bags.
Yep.
And some of them are stuck with them now. Amarillo Central Market on Globe Street. The city hasn't said anything to us yet about what will happen. We are hoping that they will do what they did in the past. The last time they talked about this, they told us they would be reimbursed. Mayor Jason Correa II announced Tuesday that he was trashing the city's pay-as-you-throw refuse program. Became known as Purple Bags. The cost of bags is $10 for 8 bags.
Well,
Amarillo's Market has
to read the paper.
15 cases of them.
Yeah.
I don't know how many are in a case. And at Standard Pharmacy, Purple Bags have gone onto a back shelf. We have a large Spanish-speaking population at the store, said Tom Corey, the business owner. They may not have read the Herald News or listened to the WSAR about the mayor's announcement. We have Spanish-speaking staff at the store, so we tell them about the press conference. We haven't sold any bags since then.
Well, tell Amarals to read the paper. The mayor said you're not getting it, and as he said, it was good for the people, good for the business. And you know, while you're on that vein about small business, remember, when people walk in to buy bags, they can also shop. It's like the anchor stores in a mall concept, you know?
That's right.
They go to the big stores and they wander around and go to the other stores. And, you know, so, you know, now the mayor will tout how this is good for the people, and you already see the blowback from this because everybody has to eat their bags, you know? So, and some of these businesses are taking a major hit.
Yeah, they are.
You know, they're going to take a hit on this. And you know, who cares? You just...
But, you know, that pay-as-you-throw money is still sitting in a reserve account untouched. And the mayor said that. But, you know, this is the answer to the city council's questions. How can he do this? Well, that money is sitting in a reserve account that we haven't used to balance the budget. So guess what? That $2 million isn't necessary. And they don't understand that. And they don't want to understand that. And now the numbers allegedly by Pamela Liberté LeBeau, the numbers that were given to the city council last week do not match the numbers that the mayor presented at his press conference. So does that surprise you? That Mary Sahadi and Kathy Ann Viveris have presented two separate sets of numbers.
What a surprise. And we have another hit from Nikki Medeiros, who we know is the
trash queen.
Is our trash guru. And you know, she talks about that letter you just talked about from Betsy Westall. She talks about she's finally commenting, and she talks about how she didn't, you know, it's easy for people to cast stones. They never discuss what really happened on their warts. There are a lot more questions. She too is responsible for the mess we're in. Her name is on much of the data given to the state. The same data she is being disingenuous by spouting about a purple bag positive. I dare you to answer my questions. Well, you know, this is the whole problem. This has been nothing but a look. We said, and we've always said, and I even said, I'm not opposed to a program like this if it's implemented properly. I was always opposed to the fact of the process that it was rammed down our throat. And you know, all these numbers, as far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't trust any of these numbers for anybody, because when we're talking about our financial team, I'm surprised they only had two sets of numbers. You know, that's like almost a win-win. You know, we only got two sets to deal with, not 12. And you know, this is what we're up against in this city. But this is almost a diversionary tactic. It's almost like now we're going to focus about this for this election rather than, hey, who's going to turn this city around? Who has a platform that goes beyond trash bags?
Right, and the other thing is people are already talking, and they're casting dispersions on the candidates that are running against the mayor. They're saying that they're going to bring back the purple bags. Nobody's even asked these people that question. We will ask them that question, yeah, because people want to know. But you know, they're picking out a candidate saying he's bringing back the purple bags, he's bringing back Kenny Fiola, he's bringing back this, he's bringing back that. He's giving his family jobs. She's giving his friends jobs. Blah 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 blah. But it's all rumor. It's all rumor. And
some of it may be like semi-accurate, but it's not. It's kind of a cloud effect. But you know, for those people, look, I don't. You know, they're gonna relegate this to purple bags. And CJ, I don't have to tell you this. You've been in this game long enough too. You know this. This is nothing more than a diversionary tactic.
That's right.
It's a tactic that the Republican Party used years ago and still uses all political parties, political candidates, to focus the myopic view on one issue that's a hot button issue to keep you from realizing that they've got no other game. They've got no game. They got no platform. They're not going to do anything for the city and change anything to turn this city around. It's like in the old days. Remember when Dukakis ran for president and the Republican Party hammered him in the Deep South about his stances on gun control. If you elect this guy president, he's going to take the shotgun out of your back window. You can't elect this guy. There goes your shotgun. You won't be able to put the shotgun in a truck, Clem. And then they went out to the Midwest and they attacked him on his stance on abortion because it's the Bible Belt. This is a political tactic. You have to look. Look, nobody can agree with virtually anybody. Sometimes you don't agree with yourself 100%. But look at the man's entire platform. You have to understand that you have to pick the candidate that will do the best for you on the most issues.
And you're right. Well, we'll see. Have a good weekend, everybody. And remember, tomorrow's Groundhog Day.
That's right, Groundhog Day. And don't forget, our guest on Monday will be
Paul Coogan. So
okay, candidate for mayor of the city of Fall River and school committee.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great weekend. And remember, stay angry.